Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. My name is Victor,
I'm Alex.
and we're back finally bringing you guys the review of the year, I think, in my opinion. Or at least the most excited video I am so far this year, and I don't see how it can be topped, Alex. I don't see how it can be topped. We're here, we're back. Dune, Part 2. It is time, it is out. We just watched it. Today's Thursday. It technically officially releases tomorrow, March 1st. I was lucky enough to go see it early on Sunday for the early fan screening. So I have seen it twice, both in IMAX. I don't even know how to feel. This is amazing. So excited. Let's dive in. I mean, we have a lot to unpack. Let's just start with how we usually do. General thoughts. I'm way too excited, honestly. Alex, you take the wheel on this first one because I just can't right now.
You sure?
Yes, you got it. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't know. Like Victor, although apparently he's beating me out on that one, I was the most excited for this film, especially after how it basically left off, especially with it being up like part two. We're doing like only the second, like where it's leading to the second half of the book. Honestly, this movie might literally be like considered to be like one of the best movie sequels I've ever seen, both visually, both story wise. It's amazing. The acting performances by all the actors in the movie is like top notch, stellar. The storyline consisting of like Paul, Faith, and Destiny, and the whole internal politics as well as the culture of like the world that they're living in just feels so very expansive and just feels this sense of moment of like dread of this darkness that's like festering or coming soon with huge anticipation. This visual effects is like honestly just feels like so top notch and just like a step up from what was done in part one. And I honestly have to say
Part 1 was still great.
oh yeah, part one's still great, but I'm saying like they really kicked up a
Yeah.
notch here.
Yeah.
Especially with the fact that this is like probably like the most action heavy for this
sure.
movie, which is again is done like so well. And again, great use of like practical effects and like on site locations that was used with a good balance of CGI visual effect. I mean, there's just so many things to say about this, but I just want to talk it down to like for me, this movie is a 10 out of 10. Stellar acting performances.
Talk about it.
Greater expansion for the storytelling and the world, as well as like a whole deep concept for like the concepts like fate and internal politics of the world. And again, awesome, spectacular action sequences that's done for like the majority of the cast. It's all just stellar. It's all top notch. Like I love it. It's like probably the greatest movie going experience, and the reason like I'm sure you can agree, Vic, on why we go see these movies. It's
Yes.
like something that needs to be seen on the big screen.
Yeah,
This is like
and the big screen, the IMAX screen. Don't sell yourself short going to see it in standard Dolby. And hey, we're the biggest fans of the Dolby theater you'll probably meet, but you can't sell yourself short on this one. It's the IMAX all the way.
yeah, but I was like, this is Dennis Villeneuve's like great
Magnus
masterpiece. Magnum opus.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, since like it's a passion project, I'll say this is like his masterpiece right here.
It is. So a 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
So it's my turn. Where do I even start? I can't. Okay, so in a spoiler-free manner, I have some very big, impactful statements to utter, and I mean them all with every fiber of my being. I believe this is the greatest sequel ever made in the history of cinema, regardless of genre, only to be on the same level too with every other sequel ever made below them, The Godfather Part 2, because I put them at kind of like an equal level. I really don't know which one edges out which yet, but it's them two and the rest are below. Yes, including Empire Strikes Back, and I love that movie. So we're starting off with that. Second, it is 100% the greatest sequel ever made in the sci-fi genre. I fully believe that, absolutely. And lastly, I want to add, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever made, but it is 100% officially my most favorite movie of all time. Dune Part 2 checks off all those boxes for me as far as I'm concerned. The acting, the storytelling, the world building, which was already kind of introduced and done in part one, but it just builds on it so much more in part two. The politics, the love story. I love love. And it's such a it invokes so much emotion in this film. The emotion in this film, sure. I don't it's so good. I love this movie, and it's genuinely really good. I've seen it twice, so like this isn't just like I just got out of the theater hype feelings. This is like I've seen it now twice. I've had days to sit on it, watched it again, and really digested it in a different manner. And I truly, truly, truly do feel this way. I actually have 5 more viewings planned within the next 7 days, if that tells you anything, and I'm very excited, and I'll make sure to follow up on the social medias to see how I feel in a week after I've seen it 6 times, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same, if not better. I mean, literally tonight, when I seen it the second time, it literally got better than the first watch, which I didn't think was possible. Usually I watch a movie once, I'm really hyped about it, then I go watch it again in a more calm state of mind, and I'm kind of nitpicking and more so focused on more specific things, and I kind of see things from a different angle and probably think maybe not necessarily less of it, but I'm more critical of it. It literally got better, and yeah, so I just have nothing but positive things to say. My rating is, I mean, if the previous statements didn't already make it clear, it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's flawless, and I think Denis really, you could just tell. I mean, and from the cast as a whole, they cared. They gave a shit. And that's what matters, and you can tell. And it's very obvious. If you haven't seen this movie for some reason, go watch it. If you have plans to go see it, have fun, enjoy it. But with that being said, I think that covers that. If we had more than 2 thumbs, we would put them all up, but 2 thumbs up from us, without a doubt. But yeah, so let's dive in. That's spoiler free. We're getting into spoiler territory now. Spoiler warning. If you are new around here, we try to bring you guys videos like this once a week, sometimes more. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay locked in with us as we bring you more reviews. And if you like this video, please make sure to let us know by hitting that thumbs up button on there, because again, we would really, really appreciate it. But like I said, spoiler warning. We're getting into spoiler territory now. All right, Alex. Dune Part 2. I want to start with this. I've told you this in the past. I have a personal gripe with Timothée Chalamet.
It's a real petty one. Honestly.
It's a petty one, and we won't get into it. It has nothing to do with his actual professional life, more so his personal life, and I'll just leave it at that. It's really nothing major. I'm just being, petty. But every time he has a project, for example, Wonka, I try to be critical going in, and then he amazes me at the end. And as a movie critic, as someone who's critical of movies and loves movies, I can never deny talent, even if I have personal biases outside of it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I come out of Wonka, I'm like, man, he did a good job. I come out of this, and I'm like, man, he did a good job. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. I can never speak ill of Timothée Chalamet ever again. This man took this movie by the horns, put it on his back. Had help, though, I will say. I mean, I'm not saying he, put this movie on his back, but, actually, I'm just saying he, fully accepted. He came into the, you know what I mean? Compared to part 1, where he's kind of even learning, not in the movie itself as Paul, but also as Timothée Chalamet, not being in this situation of a big blockbuster film of this scale, kind of learning those ropes as well. Now he's coming into this, you could tell he's seasoned, he's experienced, it's almost similar development as Paul himself. I feel like you could argue with his, as far as his acting talents and development is actually concerned. I feel like it's a very similar trajectory, and he's here. Just like in Dune Part 2, Paul's here, the Messiah's here, Timothée Chalamet is here. Hollywood, watch out.
been watching that for years, but I will say, like, this role is probably gonna be like the most thing that's gonna be up there with like a lot of like major characters through history, like probably right up there with people like Neo from like the Matrix or something like that. Since it's based, or like even Luke Skywalker, since it kind of takes the shape of like the classic like chosen one trope, but. The thing is, they really, but like what they did in this movie, and like how it's based off the novels, they basically take this chosen one aspect and just make it like completely dark and like kind of like something to be more scared of, even for like the people that he's trying to help. It's kind of so it's because like in the movie it goes like what he's supposed to be is meant to like go beyond him as he sees in his visions.
Right.
Man, it's not something like he's afraid of, yet it's something that he's fated to happen.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I'm just every time, especially in the third act, but really from beginning to end, truly, but with a emphasis on the third act, he has this like there's this, if you feel like there's a magnet between you and and the screen anytime he's on it. You feel that way throughout the entire movie. Regardless, but you know what I mean. There's such an attraction to him. He commands your attention. He commands your attention, especially once after he drinks
the water of life.
The water of life. It goes up a level. It goes up multiple levels.
It like wakes up his like actual true potential that's just kind of been festering that he's been afraid of. But that's when that's the moment that he truly become the Lasini Al Gaib.
Yeah.
And that's basically choose to like use that power and to like lead the Fremen into like this complete war with the Harkonnens and to take down the Emperor.
Yes. And I started with that because I want to talk about the acting in this film. I think it's one of the biggest strong points, but I started with Timothy because I mean the lead and stands out obviously, but not to mention I mean, such a stellar cast. I mean, we have Zendaya finally getting her, time on the screen in Dune that's more elaborate and in depth and actually developing her as a character. And I love that because, we got kind of teased, if you will, in part one. So now it's here. The meat and potatoes of her and her character. Excuse me. I mean, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem,
Austin Butler,
Florence Pugh, Josh Brolin, like literally Dave Bautista, and hey, you add Christopher Walken to this, look, the cast is incredible, and you're bringing the best left and right. You're bringing quality left and right. I mean, like you're like top 8 to 10 characters are all like able to lead a movie on their own if they needed to. Outside of this,
for sure.
So it's like from characters 1 through 10 or whatever it is, it's just quality, quality, and it shows, and it's amazing. I want to get your thoughts on Fade Rotha, Austin Butler's character.
Well, one thing I'm actually surprised by how well he was trying to do to try and keep his like Elvis voice like under wraps for his character and stuff like that.
I didn't see it.
Oh, I heard it. You can hear it, but it's like it's not like or bluff over stuff as you see in like what he's done like other projects that he's been in. Because since like I said like in an interview, he basically was focusing on like one of the Skarsgård guys who plays.
Stellan.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, who plays like Baron. The Baron. And but as they say, he did a phenomenal job where he's literally meant to be probably like a very memorable villain character because he plays off like this very sadistic, war hungry yet tactical mind that's kind of made to be like this like his equal to Paul. Yeah. And he plays that like so well, and also just goes into like how the Harkonnen clan are like basically just like ruthless, sadistic guys who have this ego or something like that, and just like all because again these guys who have like their own vice and ego, which kind of leads their like to the ultimate downfall. But Fade, he's like meant to be a lot more like smarter and more tactical wise, because again that's why his uncle had basically chose him to try and take over as governor of Arrakis, and it's like Fade's cousin, like
he's also an animal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just like if you talk back one time, throat slit, you're done. Like
Yeah, I mean,
he's relentless. He's ruthless. You know what he reminds me of? Especially with his eyes. Eyes and the way they're moving and acting in this film are very important regardless of who you are. I think it's such a... I love how Denis focuses on the eyes of characters in Dune in general, because part 1 had it too, and then it only just gets better in part 2. But with Fade, it gives me like a snake. Just like snake eyes. So like cool and deadly and just vicious, and like, yeah, I loved it.
We're just ready to strike at any moment.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, the Harkonnens are basically savages. They're animals.
Yeah, they're all savages. But, you know, speaking of... Well, actually, we'll continue on with talking about the acting. I mean, like I said, this story kind of develops Chani. So, Zendaya, I think she did a great job as well. I think everybody did a great job.
Everybody did a great job, but I think also how, like, Chani, she's the one who doesn't buy into the whole like Messiah Mahdi type thing, because again, she's like probably the one that tries to keep Paul like centered and leveled and not having to be so reliant or trying to push into the dark right. Yeah, keep him in. She tries to keep him from like this dark destiny that he's fated to have, and I don't think she tries, but as again,
she tried.
Well, yeah, because again, when it gets to like this overall war over with the Harkonnens and always trying to take down like their spice operations until they get like so desperate to start like bombing like one of their homes and everything, and like she's like she really tried, but like Paul is just destined to do it. And no matter what, he might lose or choose it. But she honestly does a phenomenal job of creating like this bond at the first start of the film, where they spend so much time together over time, where they just feel like just like these star-crossed lover types, and everything, but still has like this kind of like tragedy that kind of happens at the end of it.
It's
like
tragic.
Not tragedy in death, but it's kind of like from like the overall
emotional level.
Yeah, for how
emotional
like
tragedy.
Exactly, because like Paul, with what he is, just grows beyond where it just kind of isolates him. He has to like think of like the big picture, where he doesn't have the chance to be able to ponder or even think about her as much as he used to anymore.
Well, remember what he said when he was on the fence about going south. He said, "I fear if I go south that I'll lose you."
Yeah,
because he knew. He knew this would be the outcome. And we're here because he knew prior to that, if he went south and became the Messiah, the plan is to wife up the Emperor's daughter. So he knew that would cause issues in his current love life, obviously. So he knew. And it's heartbreaking, yet it adds so much to the movie. And I want to add this for Zendaya. We have to remember, for Fremen, is against every fiber of their being to unnecessarily waste liquid, bodily fluids. Therefore, once she gets her heart broken and she's just completely shattered, not only is that so hard to already invoke that emotion on the screen from an actor, but she had to hold back the tears. Like, bro, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
I think that's also how it shows that this movie does a great job of showing like these non-verbal expressions. Like it just all shows through the face.
Yeah.
Especially knowing how like again with the whole Fremen culture and how it's used, it just adds that more depth where you know that she wants to like tear out just to be just to go all out, but she knows that because of it she just can't. She has to just keep it inside.
That's right.
But yeah, it also creates this also major shift because a part of this Ultimator thing is literally Paul's mother, Jessica, who basically becomes like the Reverend Mother of Arrakis for the Fremen.
Yeah.
Because like literally after she literally takes like the water of life, she then just starts this whole thing of like convincing all of the Fremen from like each different like Sieches to
she's doing this.
Yeah, Sieches to like basically believe and like turn fanatics over the Messiah for this prophecy.
That's right.
But also doesn't help how like literally afterwards her own daughter inside her is basically communicating with her and just gives her this push every time where she literally speaks through her.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of create things in motion. Even then, Paul sees what she's doing, and again, Paul tries to avoid this, but even Jessica could even foretell, due to like the whole like her becoming like the Reverend Mother now with all like centuries knowledge and everything from like all the past Bene Gesserit females, everything like that. She's able to like just foresee that it's gonna happen. You can't deny this. Even you know it yourself. It's unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
Which also just shows, like, even though like it's meant to be
and
Paul's,
she's scary.
Oh, dude, she terrified me. Like, seriously, she's like literally in all like this like it's like a Islamic Muslim tattoo writing all over her body.
Oh, do you know what that is? That's I forget what it's called, the saying, but the fear thing, that she recites.
Oh, the fear is a mind killer.
Yeah, but the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's written on her.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's great. That actually fits a whole lot since like that's amazing that she carried on with her from part 1 into this film now. But now instead of her verbalizing it, it's written on her.
Well, it's actually a way of the Bene Gesserit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I started reading the book, and she like when the Reverend Mother kicks her out during the Gom Jabbar, it was like, leave us to do this. The Reverend Mother actually tells her like, hey, recite there's a name for it, I forget, but recite let's call it poem for lack of a better term. She's like, recite the poem while I do this outside. So it's like, you could tell it's like a way through the Bene Gesserit's ways that is like something they teach. And it makes sense. Like, they're like, fear shall pass through you, I will, fear is the mind killer. That's how they're teaching all the Bene Gesserits to look at fear, basically.
That's true. So it's like the whole Gom Jabbar is something that every Bene Gesserit has to go through when they're being trained.
Correct.
Since they basically have like they have like total mastery control over their bodies and even their reproductive, where they can literally change like what they want to be to either have like a boy or a girl. Because originally Jessica was supposed to have like a daughter with Duke Leto,
Correct.
But because she loved him so much and wanted to make him happy, she had a son. Paul.
Correct. Exactly.
But again, this also creates how, like, even though this is, like, meant to be, like, Paul's rise, it's also kind of, like, a descent in a way.
Brother.
Where instead of, like, hopeful, it's just kind of, like, dark doom waiting ahead for, like, this foreseeable future that's spread to be, like, spreading death and fanaticism over it. And it's all dark. In his name.
It's dark. It's getting dark. I mean, you could argue anti-hero... I don't know, we don't know. Like, you could argue a lot of things here. There's a lot of angles. Who knows? It's definitely getting dark. He's definitely kind of going in the opposite direction a little bit, kind of leaning more to leaving his, Chani when she's first, like, falling in love with him and kind of sticking up for him in front of the other Fremens that are all just making fun of him. She talks about how sincere he is and how, like, genuine, and all these qualities, and he's kind of losing sight of that a bit and really honing in on his Harkonnen side, which, side note, that's another twist. Huge twist! I was, like, not expecting that at all.
My jaw was dropping on that scene itself.
And, like, they're Harkonnens, too, so really, this movie is a total mindfuck, honestly. Like, you add that to the puzzle and it makes sense, because Duke Leto always told him, we don't seek revenge. But since he has Harkonnen in him, they definitely do.
Yeah, it even adds more to this, how, like, literally Paul was able to kill, like, the Duke Harkonnen and Fade Rotha, because the Harkonnen guys, they will literally kill each other to gain a step ahead. Because, like, even, like, literally when it's supposed to be, like, Fade's, like, coming of age birthday, he had literally set up for like one of the men he was supposed to be fighting in like this Coliseum and everything, and like they weren't drugged. He literally had to fight the person one-on-one, actual equal skill, and you could say it was like a test, but I'm pretty sure he probably would have been fine either way if the cousin of if the Baron's nephew was killed, because that's like less person in the way. Because with Raybon, he's easy to control because he's like all muscle, no brains. Yeah, because that's why
he's emotional and he's a coward.
Yeah,
and it just reflects through anger.
Yeah, like I said, they're all just basically animals.
They are,
in a whole dog eat dog world in their culture clan.
They are, and that's the entire That's the entire. Since I started reading the book, that's the whole way of the Bene Gesserit. That's the whole idea of the Gom Jabbar and the siphoning and the basically, doing their due diligence. It's like splitting up the animals from the humans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just pure animals, which is why in this movie, Fade Rotho went through the Gom Jabbar test and passed it, but they saw the weaknesses in which they could manipulate him if need be when the time comes. But, I want to talk about the fact that this movie has probably some of the best technical work when it comes to CGI, action, the battles, the fighting, all this stuff. And non-CGI. A lot of practical action stuff going on as well.
No, yeah.
That I have probably... That there is in a sci-fi film. I mean, if not the best, it's up there with the best.
Definitely, for sure. Definitely up there.
Yeah. And, we were just talking about Fade in comparison to Paul. I mean, I think as far as the action is concerned, I think the highlight's definitely their fight at the end.
Definitely. That's like literally, they're like two top favorite we're going to talk about later. But since we're mentioning this now, it's just definitely like the final. That's like the battle between Paul and Fade Rotho.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's truly, truly amazing. I want to add this for those that have seen it, and if you're watching this for some reason and you haven't seen it, then pay attention for this or whatever, but that scene by itself is already fantastic, for sure. You add Hans Zimmer's score to that, amazing. But I believe that this scene, their fight, goes up 10 levels due to the creative decision to exclude any and all sound besides the actual sounds of the fight in this entire sequence. There's no score. There's no anything. There's only the impacts of their hits, the knives clinging, or the swords clinging, knives clinging, whatever it is. Like, just the actual impacts of the actual fights going on. And I think that brings it up to such a next level thing. And it's like, it's such a little thing to do. I mean, all you did was just take away the sound.
But it just builds so much. You're just so invested in that. Because I was on the edge of my seat where I was wondering with each impact going, I'm just wondering who is going to get that upper hand or who's going to get that final kill and the one that Donnie does the deed. Right. I was on the edge of my seat because they're both very skilled warriors. They've both been trained from the ground up to be like these fierce warriors on equal footing. And the fact that there's no sound and just feeling like clanging out their knives, clanging together, them trying to gain the upper hand with Paul with his training that he's had for a long time, including this new skills with the Fremen, and then Fade with his like ruthlessness and like slick movement, like you said, kind of like a snake in a way like that.
Yep.
With again like one animal fighting against like this trained like assassin type.
Yep.
It's just like that's just like one of like the best top moments that just builds and builds on. It just makes it's gonna make repeat viewing like such a nice treat.
Absolutely. And can I just talk about how crazy that scene is? I mean, you have Austin Butler fighting Timothée Chalamet in a room where also all the other actors that we listed are also present. I mean, that's a cinema history moment right there. To all be in that room. I mean, I've seen the interviews. I've seen a lot of interviews of these people talking, and they're talking about how crazy it felt. Just that's like, it's star power, but all in like one room. Because they're all Zendaya and Rebecca and Timothy are like doing their thing over here with the in the desert, and Florence and they're over. They're not necessarily all in the movie all together at all times. So this was the moment where they all were, all of them. All that star power. So it's just I think it's such a cool moment. Like, just outside of the film itself, because in the film itself it is also, but I think just like on a historic, like, just actor level, I'm just like, dude, that's like star power right there. Like, that's awesome. I don't know, I just think it's awesome. But I love that scene. I love that scene. I love that scene. I love that scene. I think the fight is phenomenal. And definitely, the first time I watched it, bro, I was so scared. I was like, dude, he's about to die. I haven't read the books, guys. We haven't read the books, necessarily. You might know what happens. I don't know what happens. I don't want to know what happens. I bought the books. I'm reading them now, so, like, I will know what happens, but I don't know what happens up to the point of when this movie ends. That's literally the furthest point of the story that I know, and I want to keep it that way, and I want to keep it pure for myself. So, you know, some people that may be watching this maybe know what's going on, so you obviously probably knew that he wouldn't die or whatever. Actually, I don't think they fight in the book. Maybe they do. I don't know. Anyways, I love that scene. Technically, it's amazing. Without the score, it's amazing. It's just great decisions like that. But on the topic of the score,
I mean, how much you can say?
Dude.
Every single type of score that Hans Zimmer makes just feels so much more impactful and just built on a certain tension of a scene or or significant character moments. Like, I'm serious. Hans Zimmer is like literally one of the best people to be making a score for.
He's my goat. He'd been my goat before this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So he's just only adding to it, but he's the goat, and he shows it again. Yeah, I love him. I love him to death. Like, the dude, he just knows what's up. He just knows what's up. He's been my goat since he did Interstellar, bro.
Yeah, he's a Nolan regular.
I know. He's a goat, bruh. You gotta work with the GOAT. Greg Fraser, too. Y'all know I love cinematography. It's off the chain. It's off the chain. It's off the chain. I don't even know. It's a 2 hour, 45-minute movie. I can't even sit here and tell you, like, you know, I usually, when I point out cinematography, I have, like, a few special things. No, it's literally every frame.
Yeah, my favorite frame for the movie is, like, literally when Paul and the Fremen go to war against the Duke, against the Emperor and the Duke. It's like literally this one shot where they start shooting bombs over at their enemy, and you have this shot of like where we got
the rockets that were flying over.
Yeah, and we're at this shot with the explosions, but then we're also seeing like Paul like in the forefront.
Oh yeah,
where we're like seeing his back.
It's in the trailer, right?
Yeah, it's in the trailer too.
Brother.
But then we just have like that one wide shot.
With this, brother, that it's so good. Like, inject that into my veins, bro. Yeah. Oh my god. And then not to mention the entire scene before that, where he's basically telling a sea of 1 million plus people that he is the one, that he is the best, that he is at the top, and that he needs them to follow him to the promised land, for lack of a better term.
He literally took control and said that no one can stand against me, and he basically proved himself to be their Messiah by literally pointing out stuff that only Messiah,
he could know.
Only he could know for these different types of people were. I think it also shows that, like, literally from, like, the beginning of the movie, where, like, Paul usually wears, like, probably, like, a scarf headdress, but, like, not, like, a hood type with a cape. Mm-hmm. But then later on, as it keeps going further and further and building up him as Muad'Dib of the Fremen, then just leading himself into the Messiah, he then just goes into, like, full Messiah, like, Jesus type, where he has his hood up and a cape dripping over his thing, especially when he, like, holds up his knife and just calls on and for the fighters.
Yes, brother. My two favorite, like, singular, like, if you just stopped it and took a picture frames of this film, for sure, are that you're talking with the hood on, and he's walking through the people, and Timothy's face is like dead center, and he's just, that is a goated frame, and then the following frame where he pans up, top down, and you just see the entire IMAX screen is filled with humans and people, you just see a little. No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about what it's just. You see the dots because he's looking from above. And it's just, and you see a little dot moving, parting, like, it's like Moses parting the Red Sea almost. Like, you just see a little dot moving, and that's Paul, and it's him in the center. Stop that right there, take a picture. Like, that was nuts. I love those two frames.
Oh, you actually said that? Because I think in Dennis Villeneuve said in an interview, that was actually an inspiration for some of that, like Moses parting the seas. And I think also bits of like Lawrence of Arabia for most of aspects, for like the desert scenes and things like that.
Well, there you go. That one.
No. Yep.
That one. That is a go-to shot. But cinematography off the chain. That's the stuff of that. Because we could literally sit here and talk about every single part of this film. Actually, I will add, my favorite sequence when it comes to the cinematography aspect is actually the opening sequence when Paul is opening his eyes and they're against the hill and, they're continuing on from their journey, or in their journey. That opening scene, as soon as you see Paul, it takes a minute for it to cut and you just see the camera move. It's almost like you, the viewer, are one with them. You're in that situation. You're looking around. You're seeing, and I love that. No cuts right there. Just fluid camera movement. That was probably my favorite sequence when it comes to actual camera movement. But cinematography as a whole was off the chain. The action was off the chain. I love like when Chani's like about to set off the rocket launcher. It focuses in on her, and then the depth of field changes, and now it's focused on her like aiming reticle, and then the aiming reticle has the helicopter and the reflection, and that like just so many. I could literally sit here and talk about this movie all night, bro. Oh my god, but we can't do that. We won't do that. What else, Alex? What shall we discuss? What do you feel is a good thing to talk about?
Oh, like one other thing is that basically everything that was meant that's Paul saw his vision in part 1 really does happen and just carries over into part 2.
Yeah.
Everything from like where he sees himself like basically creating like this holy war, and then they have like these Fremen, these warriors holding up the banner of his house of Atreides, and basically all in his father's name. And everything that happens when he finally fully accepts his destiny, where he goes on and just pronounces himself as like Duke of Arrakis, as Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, where again he's basically also sees that him become like as both House of Atreides Duke and member of the Fremen, but also takes total control.
He's emperor now.
Yeah. But at the end of it, he might as well be emperor now. But it also means he has to go to war with the other houses. But again, with how powerful he seems in him create like this huge like fanaticism, and people wanting to spread the word. So since Jessica is very convincing of what she's done as Bene Gesserit, and again, since the Bene Gesserit have been doing this whole Messiah thing for like generations on different planets, so there's a lot more influence that they can take, where it would seem like Paul could easily take out every single member of the house, where he'd be like the sole ruler of all the houses for all the planets.
Again, guys, I don't know if you know where the story goes. I don't fully. Okay, we don't know where the story goes, so that's why we're theorizing. You are probably watching this like, no, that's not what happens, or, oh, that's exactly what happens. Just a preface. We don't know. But I hear you, though. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. And honestly, we can't forget about his sister. I think his sister plays a very important part in all of this once that comes around. I mean, she already did actually in this movie, low key. She was helping the mother build that influence in this, in the whispers and the, spreading the message and stuff, and keeping her ideas entertained. I don't know. But really quick side note on that. Huge fan of Anya Taylor-Joy, so shout out her, because I mean, as if the cast could not get any better.
Yeah,
literally.
That was a surprise to me when I saw it, because I had heard rumors that she was going to be in it, but there was like no idea what role she was going to be playing a part in that one. So that was like a huge surprise for me. But I just was like, it honestly didn't make so much sense more, because like our friend Logan had said that like in the book that Paul's sister basically came out of the womb as like a full grown woman.
Yeah, that's right.
Because apparently she has she basically had like essentially like the wisdom and knowledge of all the Bene Gesserits together. So she's like probably one of the most influential members in Paul's clan.
Dude, honestly, here's my theory. Paul is clearly on a dark path right now. his sister is born, and she's actually the Kwisatz Haderach. And it's actually like this, like.
Nah, I would.
I'm just saying that's my theory.
I mean, it's there, but it also goes how the Kwisatz Haderach is meant to be only to be male.
Oh wait, that's right. But she is gonna be this all powerful being that challenges his power in the complete opposite direction. I guess that's my point.
Maybe, but she seems like be his biggest supporter in
I'm just saying that's my theory. I truly am speaking from literally out of my ass. I have no idea what happens post the end of this film. I'm just saying it's giving possible vibes.
My about there is how basically how Paul's legendary status as his Messiah pretty much be could probably be more powerful than even himself. Because again, that's like the thing he most feared of, where again his influence of what he's supposed to be basically spans across time and space that seem more powerful than him, that could almost be to the detriment, and I think could also be something that even Chani feared, where anything because again, like I said, he's on a dark path, and his dark paths could possibly end with even his own life of being done greater than his.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's again because that's kind of scary, because again they take this Messiah thing, chosen one, and just completely flips it as something much more darker, and it's like a fear for what's meant to happen.
Well, I think the reason why it's darker is because the prophecy might not actually be true. Remember, it's just ideas and things being placed in people's heads. So that's why I feel like it goes down a certain path. Now, if we were told that there's actually, you know what I mean, it's just it's a puppet thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, but it also turns out to be true, because that's also been a long centuries plan. But I think it just happened sooner than one expected, or not in the way they wanted. Because again, Paul was never originally supposed to even be a boy.
I know. Facts.
So I think again
she disobeyed.
Because even the Reverend, because then the Reverend Mother was even scared of Paul.
Mm-hmm. Silence. Gosh,
came out of nowhere.
That's like my. I'm sorry. Jesus. Well, so did he. But I just love that moment. Sorry, it just as soon as you said that, it reminded me of the moment. But I love that moment. That's like the moment. I feel like that's the moment where if you weren't already convinced, it's like he's at the top. It's over. Like it's a wrap. I just felt like that was like the moment, at least for me, where it was like he's fully here. It's a wrap. I mean, he convinced me beforehand, but like that moment, that was really like the cherry on top, the stamp.
I think that's when it kind of shows. I think that's when it kind of shows like he's probably more powerful than even the Bene Gesserits. Because again, he's been taught their ways, as well as the other for like Mentats and the Space Guild. And he's was trained to be just as smart.
Man, and oh my god, see, we could literally talk about this all night. We haven't even mentioned the Space Guild. They weren't even in this movie, so that's like a whole other part of this complicated process and internal affairs and plots on plots within plots and plots, like kind of thing. Because remember, or maybe not remember, but in the books, the Great Houses, the Imperium, and the Space Guild, that's like the holy trinity of the entire universe. Like that's so like they're not even the Space Guild is not even involved in this situation that has been occurring so far yet. The Great House is just guys. So that's a whole. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't wait. Denis needs to drop like Dune Messiah like last week.
let the man take the time to finish his script. Now.
No, I know.
Take his time.
I know. Yeah, he could take longer than GTA 6 took, and I'll be happy. To be honest, he's earned. I mean, he already earned it with Dune Part 1, but after this, like, he literally just made my favorite movie of all time. Like I said, he's earned the right to just be like, you know, buddy, when you're ready to put that thing out there, I'll be there. Just let me know.
Yeah, because again, like I said, our friend Logan said that there seems like Villeneuve has done some major differences for his adaptation, but it just works so well and strengthens it of what was so good about the books, but also kind of made a good modern adaptive adaptive changes that fits more into what he created.
Right.
So it's kind of it's kind of like in the air, even with our friend Logan, who's currently reading the books too, and only knows like a bit of information like for like Dune Messiah in the books. So like it's really not quite sure about how Villeneuve is probably going to take this, since he said after Dune 3 he's going to be done with it.
That's right.
So like I don't know. So I have no idea what's in store, and this is probably just gonna be something that we probably would never think of. It's gonna be like a complete shocker, and probably gonna be like a major impact for Paul and like planet and Arrakis itself.
You remember, I've talked about this often. You know, I hate an open-ended thing done incorrectly.
I think you don't even like it, even if it's done correctly in
No,
some parts of the way.
Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Things are open-ended. If they're done properly, I don't mind. I could list others, but I won't. Mainly because I can't remember. I have to look at my list. But if Dune
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that's what you said for one thing on that one. We did a review for that one, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yep. So, if Dune Messiah comes out, and that's really his end, I want one of two things. It's my literal only requirement, and if it's truly his last time working on Dune, I either want full closure of everything, whatever the story is, everything that's led up to that ending, full closure, or if it's open-ended so that the other books can be made, at least have a way more enclosing feeling and vibe to it, that at least you could even feel that he closed his chapter on it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Those are literally my only requirements. The rest, I don't have any. Because I just know it'll be great. But that's my only requirement. Because if I have that feeling that I talk about with them open endings at the end of that movie, I actually might cry. I actually would cry, I think. That would be very hurtful. Because, again, the future after that is so unknown. We've known we'll get 3 from Denis. So we're excited. So I just want that closure, at least from his perspective. Not even from a book perspective. Just, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's my only requirement. It'll be a while. Before it gets here. But
It's just time to read the books, though.
Brother, what? That's exactly what I will be doing from now until Dune Messiah releases. God willing, it releases, please. I think it will, though. I think this movie's about to smash the box office.
Yeah. Might come out in 2026, probably.
I think this movie might. To be honest, I think it could go over $1 billion.
I think we said this. I think Dune is probably like the great successor of a Star Wars type trilogy, better than what the sequel trilogy than what we got originally.
What? The first 30 minutes of this movie alone was better than that entire trilogy.
Yeah, hell, even from the first 30 minutes from part 1 too.
Or yeah, like that's not comparable. Not comparable at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, any last thoughts?
No, but for our general analysis, for if you guys have seen Dune, or if you guys have actually read like the Dune novels, like both from like the original Frank Herbert, or even to his son, put down in the comments if there's any type of changes or anything from like that you've seen or noticed, and tell us about it. Even share some knowledge, insight into your knowledge of the Dune world. Because again, we're always down for new information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you got it, put it down in the comments, and we thank you for it.
Yes, but please be respectful and keep it within the bounds of the ending of this film, because I know nothing past this. So I would really hate to read a spoiler after this, not for the movie's sakes, but for the book's sakes. I'm about to embark on a journey of reading these books, so I really wanted to have some. Some new experiences at least. So, but yeah, we're very interested in gaining more and more knowledge from the hardcore Dune fans. I'm definitely becoming a hardcore Dune fan. I'm just definitely also new to the world, but I'm coming. I'm nerding out and I'm loving it. I'm coming. I'm here and I'm here to stay, and I'm loving Dune, and I'm loving Dune Part 2, and so should you. If you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing? Turn the phone off, turn whatever you're watching this off, and go straight to the nearest theater near you and pay yourself a movie ticket and watch this movie ASAP. No, but all jokes aside, thank you guys so much for watching. 2 thumbs up. I mean, we're we're actually possibly thinking of gathering 2 other friends of ours that are also huge Dune fans and probably having like a round table discussion just on a separate video, just discussing Dune as a whole, part 1 and part 2 together, just because this is like literally amazing. And as far as I'm concerned, this is probably, yeah, this is gonna be the best movie of the year. I don't see anything in the docket in the future that could top this. Like, the next most excited thing that I have is Deadpool and Wolverine, but there's just no way that's topping this.
Now, then again, that's a pretty whole different thing as well. I mean, comic book movie, sci-fi thing, but all that.
I know. I'm just saying, as far as how much I like it, I think you're just very excited. I'm just saying, me personally. Anyways, point is, we're excited that this movie is out,
and I will say, I'm telling you, this movie is probably gonna get a lot of Oscar nominations, probably as much as Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
Definitely, and it should, and I hope it does.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it does. Just exactly how I desire Oppenheimer to just sweep all the awards. I want Dune Part 2 and the cast of this and whatever nominations they get to do the same exact thing next award season. Facts. Go watch it if you haven't. And if you have, let us know what your thoughts are, because I'm sure you'll let us know that you feel at least similar to us in that it was a fantastic film. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button down below to let us know you liked the video. We really appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out.